Okay, let's go.
Hello there, Chick Chatters. We're back with the most recent Teen Mom episode, and Mackenzie and her man are coming in as we left off. They came in and looked right at Corey and Taylor, and they said, "We know you've been carrying the show on your backs for these first few episodes. We're here to take a couple pounds off, but just a couple pounds."
Like a smidge.
Yeah. Actually, they came in and said almost absolutely nothing. Her boyfriend came around, introduced himself, and said, "It'd be weird if I didn't," and then watches his lady not do the same thing.
Which is true. It would be weird if he didn't. I know that most of them know Mackenzie, but she should have come in different than that.
That woman should have came in prepared. And then when I mean prepared, I mean fully prepared. Had something to say to Cheyenne. Yep. Came in with the attitude of, I'm just going to come in hot. And I don't mean come in hot as in yelling and being dramatic. I mean come in hot as in, hello, with everyone, I'm going to be excited. Yeah, coming in with the excitement. Going up to Cheyenne within the first probably hour of being there, at least plant the seed of, my plan is to talk to you and hash this out. If you're not comfortable doing it right now, I'm fine to do it tomorrow. Whatever.
Whenever. I mean, even just look Cheyenne in the face. Maybe Cheyenne's not looking at her, but hey, Cheyenne, hey, Zach. That's all you got to say when you walk in. You say hi to everybody. If you're not introducing yourself, then you acknowledge yourself to everybody in the room, or you're weird. And we'll see throughout this whole thing, she had no plan, like you said, and she is acting so weird.
I have a little bit of a hot take, and I do think Caitlin's responsibility to maybe meet this girl at the door, make it a little bit less uncomfortable, since you've been the one texting with this girl. Like, I'm so excited for you to be here. And then when she gets here, you're just going to let her come in and be the most awkward woman in the room and be like,
Kate and Ty did sound the most excited when they said hi to her. They did at least say hello to her, and I think they said welcome or we're happy you're here or something like that. But yeah, I could see that. I also wonder how much of that is production, though, acting like these girls are more friends than they really are. But I do know that Kate and Mackenzie have done lots of scenes together and stuff, so that's fair. Either way, Mackenzie is a grown woman. She should have just came in a lot more prepared. She wanted to just put her boyfriend in front of her as if he was going to be some kind of shield and a sign at the same time that she's changed herself. And that's just certainly, that ain't it, girl. That is not it. You fooled this one man, but you fooled the rest of us.
They just show that little bit of awkwardness. And yeah, Caitlin left her out in the mud to sink, just like April left her out in the mud to sink.
So true. Yeah. Good connection there. And I mean, Mackenzie just walks away pretty much right away to go get a drink. And then she sits down in another room. And then all of a sudden it's just the next day. So it seems like the awkwardness just continued.
Yeah. If you don't grab the bull by the horns, like Corey was literally wearing on his head when he came in, then you're going to be awkward until you fix the awkwardness. The next morning, we got Tyler's word of the day, which I think he was mispronouncing anyways, but I don't remember what it was. I just know it meant calm.
Tranquilo.
Okay. He was saying it like tranquilo, like, I don't know.
Like, yeah, tranquilo. That's what I got from it. But yeah, interesting that the word of the day is calm.
Yeah, because it was anything but calm. But Tyler, our brother in Michigan, and I can just tell he's from Michigan, not even from his accent at all, but because of how he responds to drama. Tyler is up in it. The men in Michigan are just as into drama as the women. Okay.
Woke up in the morning. So tell me about Cheyenne.
Yes, he also plays a perfect role. He's not like them other guys who can't play dumb. Tyler is the king of it. He walks right up to Mackenzie and starts asking, well, I heard a bunch of stuff going on. Like, what's that about? That is a Michigan introduction to gossip conversation starter if I've ever heard one. What's that all about?
She tries to sort of share her side of the story, but she totally dulls it down, minimizes a lot of it. I mean, maybe they're editing some of it out, but I don't know. I think they probably would have given her something had she said something. She really didn't say much. She talked about the beginning part a lot more, what initially prompted her to have that conversation with Cheyenne more than anything afterwards. And then I think it's Tyler lets her know, like, did you know that there were people coming to her house? Or at some point, she says she learned that Cheyenne's family was being harassed and things like that. So I don't know.
Tyler was great at reacting like everything was brand new to him. Like he didn't just have this conversation with Cheyenne the night before.
Yeah, I think Tyler's talked to enough therapists that he could kind of put that curious voice on and sort of mimic that, because he did a really good job of getting her to open up about her side of the story. And Mackenzie did acknowledge here that she does need to talk to Cheyenne, but this is where it's very clear that she doesn't have a game plan. And Tyler tries to help her with that a little. Maybe you should try to talk about what you've learned in the last couple of years, which I thought was smart because she's already apologized, quote unquote, for what she said. Now she needs to apologize for ignorance that she says was true. So
I'm going to have a hot take on her a little bit just because I don't really buy it. I can see from a mile away, even as she's talking to Tyler, she's saying things like, there was only one Black girl in my class. Girl, I didn't have 0 Black people in my graduating class, and I still knew about segregation. It's taught in schools. It's in a social studies class. You can't claim just because there's only one human in the world that you know that, like, it's research it. We're in 2020. We grew up in the 90s, 2000s. There was information. Like,
have some empathy for people. Who cares if there is one Black person in your school or no Black people in your school, or you're a minority within your school, and whatever. I think all of those things, you have to have some empathy and care about people's experiences, period. It doesn't even matter if you knew what segregation was or not, which bullshit, but you have to have empathy for people's experiences. And for you to only have, I'm not.
So I can't buy it. When she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, she called Cheyenne saying, you're the only Black girl I know. Now there's this other one from her high school, but it doesn't even matter.
I did think the explanation of, I didn't grow up around a lot of diversity, she could have just really left it at that. It's not, again, an excuse, and it doesn't serve as a good excuse, but it does maybe help some people understand that she just wasn't exposed to a lot of that stuff to understand or to have empathy. But the BS lines about, I didn't know what segregation was and I was trying to be politically correct. No, you just have to not be racist. It's not politically correct.
Apparently they are supposed to go on a challenge, and Mackenzie and her man decide to sit this out. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It reminds me very much like lasagna's name, so I started calling him that. But
I'd love to call him that.
Something that we used to call somebody whose name was really close to the word lasagna. But he seems really cool.
He keeps recentering her. He's really patient with her. He's really understanding. Obviously, he knows about what she said because he's the one who ended up telling Tyler what she said, because she didn't even want to tell on her own self because she still can't take accountability. And the man was like, she said colored lady.
We know that's not exactly what she said. But yeah, I mean, it's an icebreaker, and you need to get that out there and out of the way, because it is this one thing. You were ignorant for a while. You can make fun of that if you are not indeed still ignorant.
First, you have to apologize and take accountability and demonstrate your growth. And that's not a hard thing to do. It's not bad. Just do it, and then we can all have a good time. But we will see. This episode is not a good time for anybody.
No, in fact, she decides to not go onto the challenge with everybody else, and she stays home to lay in her bed. She's just laying in her bed, miserable in this like bikini top, which I'm assuming Mackenzie was already drunk at this point. She had to have been. There's no way this was a drunk.
Her eyes were like rolling back in her head. Well, her man was
made some mistakes. I'm like, girl, he knows. That's what he said.
That poor guy. He probably thought they were going on a fun vacation. They were going to meet some new people. They're going to start this journey together on television, and then he realizes she's the villain.
Well, she wouldn't be if she came in and resolved it night one, and then she could have went to this challenge, and they could have all bonded as couples.
Mackenzie's never done herself any favors when it comes to the cast, when it comes to her own life. She really just takes a wrong turn. I thought it was a bad move to sit out. That was just not it.
Although I don't know how much they could have contributed to that challenge anyways. It seems like the challenge was for them to yell and have like an argument with themselves from the other person's perspective, basically. They're pretty new dating, and I don't really know what they got to argue about at this point. And I mean, it would have been funny to hear him yell at her or make fun of this whole situation in a way.
It's definitely too awkward, especially for Mackenzie and the women, because everyone gets kind of split up. But it wouldn't have been awkward, like you said, like we've all been saying, if she would have just came in. And the conversation didn't have to happen then, but some eye contact, some, hey, let's talk when you're ready, maybe tomorrow in the morning, or like whatever, anything an adult would say.
Yeah, like we'll stick a pin in it. Go up to her as an adult and be like, I know we got an issue we need to talk about, obviously, if we're gonna be here and have a good time. So I don't want to talk about it tonight, but I just got here, so maybe we just kind of put a pin in it for tonight and we pick this back up tomorrow. Or if you really want to talk about it now, I'm down to get it out the way and whatever. Because the more she lets Cheyenne sit on it, the more she got upset again.
They split up the men and women. The partners have to say whatever they think their partner would say in their relationship. And I thought Jade and Sean had a really good one for being the first ones to go. Maybe they weren't exactly the first ones to go in real life, but I think they really probably got the most out of that. And it's clear they obviously argue a lot because
Yeah, they
know
practice at home a lot.
They got it down pat.
I even heard Jade talking as Sean was doing his. I was like, this is
you
it.
Did?
I could feel it. It was like a spiritual thing. I felt a combination of Jade and Christy and just magic. I was thirsty for a big gulp afterwards.
That's probably very true. Definitely.
It was definitely spiritual.
I'm glad you got your Sunday preaching in.
The only thing I learned about these challenges, it's finally clicking for me how you win these things. You win them by losing. Okay, Taylor and Maci both kind of lost. Taylor wasn't very open in his arguing with himself. He was all right. But compared to the guys who just let it out there, Corey, I don't trust you. Some of their acting was just on par with like Cody Brown's skills.
The sacrifices that I made to love you, wasted.
And then you have Taylor coming up there and it's just chill. And what he's saying, I'm sure he had some good points, but it was just chill, and I already forgot what he said because it wasn't that entertaining.
I thought Taylor's and Macy's was actually pretty good compared to everyone else, even though it consisted of nothing. The woman therapist, she kind of brought it all together and recognizing that Taylor does not communicate. So Macy has no idea what his complaints are or what his arguments are, only that he has them because they're not very intimate. And they don't talk to each other than parenting. So obviously there's a problem, but he doesn't communicate. So I thought that they got a lot out of it, but it wasn't entertaining to watch by any means. It wasn't like Corey or like Jade or...
Well, like I said, to win was to lose. So it's all coming to me now. I figured it out. That's what was happening in every other challenge. We won't see Kate and Ty get a session now until like the end. We're not going to see them until everybody else is already gone, including Mackenzie and her boyfriend. I'm telling you, to lose is to win in these.
So what you're saying is whoever proves to be the most dysfunctional in the workshop gets a therapy session in the morning.
And a date.
In this case, I don't think they all got dates.
Well, they get like an activity now, I think, or something. Like I'm starting to catch on to
in this case, they certainly did.
So I'm thinking this might be the pattern.
For some reason, the men screech like a bunch of wolves. I don't know if that's something they've been doing and they just haven't put it into the edit yet, but the therapist was like, all right, wolf pack men. And they were all like, ow. And I was...
Corey and Tyler, I'm sure, are doing that. And then Zach's probably just playing along. And Sean's just like, what they did. That's my theory, is that it's more of a Corey and Tyler thing because they're both the most hyper to be there.
They are. And they're probably really bonding. I could only imagine.
They've become one. They're both the guys that are going to get the gossip too. Like Corey gets it out of Cheyenne all the time. Tyler gets it out of everybody else.
Could you imagine their conversations on night with each other? They're probably just like, and then like Kate and what's her name? Taylor. They're just probably like,
they just listen. Kate goes, oh yeah. Ain't it crazy? They do their little challenge. Corey got really into it, but Taylor seems to be missing whatever. She was like, what could I be doing? Like,
she was very monotone in the whole situation. And I was excited to see both Cheyenne and Zach about to go, and then as soon as they both open their mouth, I was like, oh, they ain't gonna do this one either. They just show up. They don't participate.
Yeah. But when Corey was getting so dramatic, I was like, okay, this woman's been through some things. That's all I got out of that. Like, Taylor's been through some things. This is how
and all
Corey
Corey says to her is like, you need to be better. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't do it. I don't know. But so when they come back, we get about 3 seconds of a little group dinner. And I'm sure we would have gotten more of this group dinner, but not a soul spoke a word. And Mackenzie isolated herself again into this whole other table with her man. Everybody's feeling the tension. It's seriously so weird. This would have been the opportunity if you have put it off by now, especially before dinner, after dinner, get her nice and full and happy, maybe sleepy. She'd probably be nice and agreeable. I cannot believe that she sat that whole night and she goes into an interview, or at least they show her an interview, and she's saying, we have to move forward at this point. It's so awkward, blah, blah, blah. And then we show the next morning.
Yep. I'm assuming it just ended on a really awkward note. Everyone else just went to their own rooms and it was just a chill thing. But who goes to a couple's vacation knowing you're getting there late and then you want to make everything awkward? It wasn't like this till you got here.
They were all naked the night before this, screaming their heads off, having a great night. And now you've come in here and nobody's talking to each other. Nobody's even looking each other in the eye. Everybody's just like, I just can't.
For a shoe to drop because they should have already had a conversation night one. This is the ramifications of not doing anything about it. Now everybody's sitting in their awkwardness, so now they have a bad taste in their mouth about you because you're the one that needs to come in and say, or at least acknowledge, I got something to talk to this girl about. Yeah. Even if it's just to this girl, I got something I got to talk to you about. We can hit it tomorrow. We can hit it tonight. I mean, I'm open whenever.
It sounds like she was going around telling that to every single body except for Cheyenne, which just announce it publicly at any time. Hey, Cheyenne, whenever you're ready, I'm ready to have that conversation. Whatever. We've gone over it 100 times because we just would have loved to hear it. But
well, like I said, this girl should have came in here prepared. She's talking about, I'm not prepared yet. I need more time. I need more time to think about what I'm going to say. Why? You should be 2 years prepared for real.
Did you not take a flight? Did you not take a bus to the location? Did you not get invited a couple weeks ago? That is the time for your plan, not right now when you're all feeling awkward, you can't think straight and all of that. That's why you have a plan, because you're going to be scared. You're not going to be able to think straight. You need to stick to the plan.
Were you hoping your boyfriend was going to do everything?
She shoved him into that room when they walked in, like, fix it. It's just crazy.
Like, this man doesn't know these people. This is his first TV experience, I'm sure, ever. So just relax. Poor man. I'm starting a GoFundMe to get out of Florida. It's not good for him.
Get this man to a safe location. Someone call Adult Protective Services.
Yeah. This is, I think, when they show us Macy and Taylor's anticlimactic therapy section where they kept missing the point to get to the point of every single thing that they talked about. It was crazy. I was like, wow, there really takes a lot for this communication thing with them.
They do kind of talk in circles and it is hard to follow. I think they need to do more couples therapy sessions like that, though, because somebody needs to keep them focused a little bit, because they do, like you said, they miss the point to get to the point. They do eventually get there, but somebody needs to help keep
they had to be guided the entire time by the therapist. You're right. I think they need to do this like once a week or something to help them.
Because they would learn how to listen to each other.
This is the first time we've seen this guy, huh? And then he comes out with this wizard magic and he bestows it upon Taylor and Maci, where they're like, tell me about when you first fell in love. Oh, I was in love with him because with Bentley, blah, 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 blah. So you fell in love with him for being a parent, and now parenting is driving you apart. Oh, they have crazy moments in this session. I'm like, this guy is like a mind wizard.
He's got intuition. He just drills right into this. But he's also been getting to know them a little bit through the workshops and things like that.
All they've been doing is stacking blocks and moaning and yelling at themselves. Like,
But
if you really
every time
put it down on
when
a
they
list.
stacked their blocks, they talked about how their kids and all they did was parent. And when they moaned, all they did was talk about how they not moaning because they're parents. So it's pretty obvious.
Why am I feeling like I'm just seeing him for the first time though? Was it a different man going to these events, or was it really this guy?
No, it's a
He seems
guy.
different.
It's just two therapists. It's a guy and a lady.
And I swear there's a whole team.
It's the one that worked with Tyler when he was on ketamine.
Oh,
It's the same guy.
he is a psychological wizard then.
He is he's a good therapist for sure. He's a good one. I like
Yeah.
watching it. He pretty much tapped or like strained out as much as he could out of Taylor and Mackenzie, and I will say he did pretty good. He also picked up on the controlling and negative voice in her head, and we've always seen that because we've been watching her since, we were her age.
Right.
Imagine what it'd be like with Ryan. And she has always had that sense of responsibility, I think more than a lot of the other teen moms have had. We've seen some of them, party or just do other things. Has always had that sense of responsibility and obligation. So I could see how that does get in the way, and it probably really feeds on that whole parenting thing. And I liked how the therapist called them super parents, because that's exactly what they are. They only bond these days over the fact that they're very good parents. And that's awesome, but y'all aren't having any sex, it sounds like.
Something I do want to touch on is that during all the awkwardness, they decided to call Bentley. And I'm like, man, this kid is still this woman's storyline, even on his days off.
Every time Macy feels tension, she calls Bentley.
There is one thing that's mentioned in this phone call that I have to speak on. And she says that he's hanging out with a teacher, a retired teacher. And I know it can't be Mimi Jen, right? Because, I mean, I know that Ryan didn't go to preschool, but is that why he didn't go to preschool?
I never went to preschool. I know, and look, and I was prepared for kindergarten.
Like, who's he with? Is he with Macy's mom or Taylor's mom?
Maybe, yeah. I either preschool aside.
Preschool.
Maybe it is Mimi Jen because Ryan didn't go to preschool.
Preschool.
No, I think teachers put their kids in preschool.
I never went to preschool.
Not if he was a preschool teacher. Retired.
No, maybe it's Macy's mom. She gives off teacher vibes. She's a little bit stern looking.
I knew I would find another reason to just throw Ryan's preschool clip somewhere again.
Oh, it's going to be
retired teacher grandma.
Preschool.
Preschool.
Oh man, so the therapist assigns a date for Macy and Taylor, and he assigns for them to go on a date without talking about the kids, which been here before. Haven't they done this before? And it was incredibly awkward for them. They went out to dinner, and all you could hear was like the forks and the knives scraping each other and the slurping and chewing. And then after dinner, they went and sat out by a fire or something, and they drank a beer, and nobody said a goddamn word. So I had very low hope for this date. And I don't know why Macy and Taylor acted like, oh my God, I've never thought of this before. You guys just did this last season or the season before when we were talking about the fact that you guys don't like each other. So
yeah, didn't they take a limo to the state?
Yeah, they did all kinds of frou-frou things. I do like that it's a more active date because obviously they can't sustain a conversation with each other right now.
Yeah, and I think they're also trying to test Macy out for the challenge, see if that will work for her.
I would love that for her.
So we're going to talk about their date, which they're talking about this date like it's the most exciting date they've ever been on or whatever. It's going to be so exciting, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I mean, it looks cool what they're doing and stuff, but they still proceed to show these people barely talking to each other.
It's true. It's very true. I think that they need to make some memories with each other to have things to talk about when they're alone together. Because now for the next week or so, they'll be able to kind of laugh about, oh, remember when we did this? Or, this.
Their date looked cool.
It was fun. So
that would have been the challenge to lose, you guys, is that one.
Yes, totally. I think that was probably the best date that anyone's going to get, even though I don't know if I could get in that little mud sulfur pit. I would be scared. I don't like liquid that you can't see through. I don't even drink dark sodas, really. I need to be able to see through that shit.
I did something like this in Mexico. It was fun, but it was, controlled. So
I would get in a bath with mud, but not in this. And why did they call it a volcano? It's not really a volcano. It's a mud hill.
I don't know.
Were they trying to
It
tell us
might be an underground volcano. It might be considered one, like a mud one. So I don't know. They were very hyped.
Man-made to me, but I
probably was.
I could be ignorant sometimes too. I don't know. I've never seen a volcano in my life, so I did think there was lava in a volcano, not mud.
I think that it depends if they're active or not. Like some volcanoes aren't active, so they wouldn't have lava. They probably would have more like mud and stuff.
Man, you Chick Chat listeners, please help us, and please don't judge us.
Our knowledge is reality TV limited. So, but I think I do remember that it's not always lava in volcanoes. Like it's there, it's deep somewhere, but it's not always active. Some volcanoes don't erupt for like a long, long time. Here we are, like 40,000 years overdue for Yellowstone or some shit, right?
I'm sure some friendly subscriber will help us to understand a little bit better. But
we're always living on borrowed time, anyways.
It's true. So they slathered themselves in this mud sulfur mixture that they were swimming in, and they seemed to have a good time. Macy was very giggly. I actually laughed out loud when she wrote, "I love you" or "I heart you" on his back, and he's like, "What did you write?" She goes, "Penis."
Their accent gets me sometimes.
So finally, here we go.
Took the whole damn episode. Actually, like 2 they were teasing this for, but
I was over here starting the episode with my popcorn, all my stuff ready to go, ready to see the confrontation go down.
It should have happened then.
No wonder Cheyenne was getting irritated. How long do you have to walk around all tense and crazy because you can't take accountability for your actions, even though the whole conversation we're about to have is taking accountability for your actions?
Mackenzie's the one she walks in is like, if some people aren't going to get up and hug me, I'm not going to do it to them. It's like, girl, you're the one walking in here.
Hug is a completely different thing than a, hey, hello, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey, hi,
good
how
to
are
see
you? Yeah, something.
Hey there.
You're right, you're who there. Anything. You're from the South. Isn't that what the first thing you're
I don't even know
if out of partner. Anything.
I don't know though if the conversation would have even happened between the two of them. It seemed like Mackenzie needed to get out of the sun, and so she sat down next to Cheyenne, and that's the only reason she started the conversation. And she still sat there for an awkward amount of time and was like, so yeah, you should have just came up to that woman the night of, but I'm going to try to get past that point. So when she does decide to sit down and talk to Cheyenne's already annoyed because she knows that everybody else in the house has talked to Mackenzie but her. So now she's coming into this with you've done pissed me off now. Before, she was more open to hearing Mackenzie that first day. But now Mackenzie is isolating herself. She's made a whole day weird. And now she's going to come to me like, oh, so. It's like, no. Come to me with a full statement and a full speech. I want to hear the full speech before you come with me trying to make it nonchalant. This isn't a nonchalant. Something thoughtful, something prepared, something that says that you have reflected for a while about what you've done.
Yeah.
If you have no plan, that means you have done no reflecting. You have nothing to even pull from that you've thought about yourself that you can share with this person. That's just completely insane to me.
And you've had nothing but time to prepare. You've had more time than anyone to prepare.
I know that her life has been through some things.
But at least for this trip, you've had at least a couple weeks to know that you were going to need to say something to this girl and apologize.
Like I said, a flight, a bus trip to the place at minimum. Come on. You've been there at least one night, I think 2 nights now.
In the bathroom and be like, okay, girl, I gotta get it together and I gotta
go for a run down the beach in the morning and get your mind right. I don't know, something. She needed to do something, yet she did nothing, yet here we are, and she's not prepared.
Yeah, and she wants to claim, well, I didn't know things and this and that. I just think, girl, if you're going to come in here and take full accountability, just be like, you know what, that was wrong. Those people shouldn't have been doing those things. I should have said something. I should have told people to not do something, and if this were to happen again in the future, that's the actions I would take. Give her something to work with and not just, oh, I'm so sorry that this happened and I didn't
I had
know.
no idea.
Girl.
Shut up.
Even if you did have no idea, at least give her something to work with. You could have not known, sure, but that's not going to be comforting for anybody else to know.
No.
And who's
And
supposed to
Cheyenne
believe?
picked up on that right away. She's like, listen, you can't half-ass this. This is what happened to my family as a result of your actions. I'm not going to sit here and act as if you don't know. Everybody knew, and
Mhm.
you were involved in this. You certainly should have known. And that's when
Mhm.
she gets Cheyenne's ass for a little while, and I just loved that for Cheyenne.
So here's my thing is Cheyenne has had a lot happen since all this, right? Like there's the shooting and Zach stuff and all these kinds of things, right? So Cheyenne's not really sitting at home like, sulking in this. What had happened was it all got brought up to her again. So she was open to hearing an apology, to talking to this girl, I'm sure the moment this girl walked in the door. But instead of taking that opportunity to nip this in the bud before Cheyenne can sit here in her feelings about this stuff for longer than a couple days, because she's been sitting here thinking on this stuff, reflecting about the things that these people have done to her, people have called her at school or whatever. And now she has had too much time to sit in that. And now she's getting angry because instead of this person coming up to her and having the conversation like an adult so she could squash this thing, she has been avoided. And now she's like half-assing it to her. That's the whole problem here. I don't think that Cheyenne was going to hold this over Mackenzie's head forever or even past the end of this episode or whatever. I didn't think she would have been as annoyed with her as she was if Mackenzie would have, for one, approached her to begin with. And then when she did approach her more respectfully and with something. Apology, a plan of action, and what she should have done differently.
Yeah, Cheyenne shouldn't have had to been the one to have to tell her, even though it's appropriate that Cheyenne expresses to her how she was impacted by this. She shouldn't have had to be vulnerable and tell her how she was impacted by this before receiving any accountability on Mackenzie's end. And the thing that really gets me is at the end of this conversation, Mackenzie walks away really completely missing the whole entire point. She thinks that she should have apologized for basically what she already has apologized for, the whole situation that went down between the two of them. What Cheyenne needs an apology for at this point now is what has happened and transpired as a result of that conversation for the last 2 years. And she needs to talk about, like you said, how she's changed and what she's going to do to mend these things. But do not walk up to that woman and ask her, what do you need from me? Are you kidding me? What do you need from me? Cheyenne doesn't need a thing from you. Cheyenne is perfectly fine on her own. And Cheyenne had the best response in the world to that as well. I don't need anything from you, but it's good that you say that you have grown, and I really hope that that's true because you have a black boyfriend, and if you guys have kids together, you're going to have black kids, and I hope that you take time to understand that. And that is almost a direct quote because it was so important that she said that to her.
I just feel like Mackenzie, it all went in one ear and like out the other with her.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's fine. It's just you should have came in there knowing that this is how things were gonna work out if you didn't go in there and start taking accountability right away. I don't know. She could have said it a million times better.
She could have said anything. She really didn't say anything to her except for denying that she knew about the worst parts about what happened, which is that her family was harassed and felt unsafe as a result of what happened between the two of them. I don't even care if it's true, which we all know it's not true, that Mackenzie didn't know. It doesn't matter. You just say, I'm sorry that that happened because of what I said. Period. The end. That's all. And then Mackenzie wants to go crying in her bedroom to her boyfriend who has to console her because, I mean, geez, what else is he going to do?
I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, me too.
I do not know what she was thinking was going to come of that. She acknowledges Cheyenne's tweeting that she was ignorant. She said it came from a place of ignorance, and it did. Then why did you get online and cry about Cheyenne's statement if you agreed with her?
And maybe for the benefit of the doubt, maybe at the time she didn't understand that it was ignorant, and maybe she understands that now, but that would be a perfect way to start the conversation with Cheyenne. It's just,
if you're gonna go online and cry about it, here's the thing: you didn't just say it to your friends and stuff. You're gonna go on live and cry about it. You better go on live when you realize that what you were crying about was wrong.
I think the saying is the apology has to be as loud as your disrespect. So I think she should have done that. She should have came with that. As we all see, she did not. And this is where we are. So
Yep.
Cheyenne told the girls that she did not like the conversation. I think everyone was hoping that the conversation could really just be a good icebreaker and get everyone back to good. And now everyone's alluding to this is their first conversation of multiple conversations. We're obviously going to have to see them interact with each other more, but I can't imagine that it's going to go well. Kind of have a feeling that Mackenzie's probably going to leave pretty soon.
Either that or it's now up to Caitlin to try to figure this mess out. So
I don't think that.
no, I think it's up to Caitlin now. You got this, Kate. You got this. You got Ty on your side. You guys got this. This is the mission. This is the mission made for them. That's why they brought all this in here. That's why the producers want it to seem like they invited her or something. Even though this girl has probably been invited since the script went out. Whatever it is. They get.
So we end there for the episode. Next, we get a little trapeze looking thing, and it looks like Macy gets hurt, but it seems like she's gonna be okay.
She'll probably win. Whoever loses that one's gonna go on a special date. I swear. I promise that's probably what's gonna happen.
That would be good for Mackenzie to maybe
lose.
Maybe lose.
I don't think she's gonna lose that one though, because that girl is like a born gymnast or something.
It does look like Mackenzie's gonna join some of the group therapy situation. I don't know if Cheyenne is gonna be involved in that. Doesn't look like she's in the room, but maybe they're just not showing her. And then it looks like somebody new is coming. Somebody that Cheyenne likes because she's excited. And I wonder if it's Brianna. Yeah.
I think it's Brianna and Leah probably show up.
One person at the door and she had dark hair.
Oh, it's probably Brianna then. I just think that we need to sit Cheyenne and Mackenzie down with Tyler as some kind of mediator. And Caitlin, let's have them both there. And have them just kind of watch the conversation and put in their 3 cents every now and then. Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. So you didn't know? You didn't know? You didn't know about segregation?
You not go online? Have you never gone to school?
I just want to see a Caitlin and Tyler driven conversation about this whole mess. And I feel like it's coming. I feel like one or the other is the one to guide us through this. I think that's why they're having Caitlin all over this Mackenzie mess. I think it's because she's going to have to guide us through it. And I think it's
she acted like she overheard the conversation between the two of them, but she didn't give us any details that she acted like she heard. She just said she didn't think it went well. I feel like anyone would have known that conversation didn't go well after Cheyenne turned around and showed that woman her whole ass, which I would have done the same. It wasn't good enough for me. I know it wasn't good enough for Cheyenne.
We'll see. Is Mackenzie and her boyfriend still going to carry these few extra pounds for Corey and Taylor? Or are they just going to go right back to Corey and Taylor and they're going to start carrying the rest of the season again? We will find out in the next episode.
I'm guessing Mackenzie and her boyfriend are going to dip out very, very soon, especially once Brianna shows up. I just think it's time to break up this ice. This was the most boring episode we've watched of this season so far. Don't want to see it go down this path.
And it had all the drama that it should have between Mackenzie and Cheyenne, and it gave us absolutely nothing. Between Cheyenne's monotoneness and Mackenzie's monotoneness, it was the most monotone argument I've ever heard. I couldn't even tell if Cheyenne was mad half the time or not.
Cheyenne was mad. I will give my props to Cheyenne because we've seen her get mad at points in the season. Her and Zach had a little moment for a while. I mean, she's kicked Zach out of cars when she was pregnant. She's flipped tables at other reunions. Not that she is out of control or anything, but I've seen her not be very open to forgiveness with people.
Whiny, and I've seen her monotone. I've not seen like an in between, which is fine. I prefer monotone and chill over a basket case like Amber Portwood is all the time. Trust me, the personality difference there is amazing. But it just seems like it takes a lot to piss Cheyenne off, or at least show more emotion. And this girl ain't gonna get it from her. She'll flip her ass over. That's all you're gonna get.
You're gonna see my ass.
Yep.
If she ain't flipping tables no more, she's just flipping ass.
Flipping ass. And Tyler's selling ass. So
Tyler's okay.
A lot of ass going on in this.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Me.